Okay, we are back. This is part two of my interview with Geoff Young, Republican candidate for the 6th District Congressional House seat of the Republican Party against Andy Barr and others. So, Geoff, tell us, how is your campaign going? What have you experienced? And I'll leave it at that.
Well, I have my issue now. I've been meeting with various county Republican parties across the 6th District. The 19 counties are represented. And I've been saying to each group, I am the most pro peace candidate you'll ever meet.
And I'm curious, what has your reaction in the Republican Party been? Because in general, I didn't find that the Republicans cared very much about peace as an issue.
Well, I'm not finding great acceptance with that. What I'm doing, I think, is getting people to think, and to think, because in general, people want peace, right?
Well, in theory,
nobody goes around saying I'm a warmonger and I want our troops to be fighting, for the next 20 years.
But politically, many presidents have used waging war as a way to boost their own popularity. They've unnecessarily attacked people or invaded people just because it was the popular thing to do.
Right, that's very unfortunate. It also makes America hated throughout much of the world. People don't wake up every morning saying, "Gosh, I wish we were more dominated by the United States."
Yeah, if only they would spread some of that democracy this way.
Yeah. If only they would give us some of that democracy, we'd be we'd be happy. That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And so more and more countries are starting to say, just get out. We don't need your, quote, help anymore.
Right. I think that's been true over the decades. I mean, I was watching a documentary about World War II and just, how the American presence in Asia was so inflammatory, and how in many Asian countries the Japanese were seen as an ally where the Americans were seen as an enemy. Before the start of World War II, and I think the narrative in this country has always been that we're the good guys, but around the world we've often been seen as the oppressors and the occupiers.
Well, it's not a reputation I like our country to have.
Me either.
So, relating this to Andy Barr, he immediately, as soon as President Trump ordered the assassination of Soleimani in Iraq, Andy Barr got on Twitter and said, "This is a great moment for the United States, and we've showed those Iranian aggressors who's boss, and all this stuff that is false. It's actually false. There's no Iran has not been an aggressor in the Middle East for a couple hundred years. They haven't invaded somebody else like Saddam Hussein did when he invaded Iran. So Iran has been attacked, and as I said, they're not going to forget it. They are going to keep trying to get our troops out of the Middle East for the foreseeable future.
I would agree with those things.
And Andy Barr is helping to encourage escalation in a very dangerous region of the world.
And I would say Andy has always supported American war efforts and American aggression, and ignored everything else about anything we've ever done in the Middle East and the occupation of all these countries, the missile defense system. You never hear about our missile defense system, and it's a key component as to why the Soviets fear us.
Russians.
I'm sorry. Yes, the Russians. Forgive me. And so I'm not anti-Soviet. I'm not a friend of Vladimir Putin. I do have somewhat of a respect of the way he leads his people. I feel like he's doing what's in the best interest of Russia at all times. And that doesn't mean that I like what he does all the time. It just means that I think he sees his primary goal is to promote Russia. And I think but at the same time, I also think that he sees not starting wars as the superior position, that he doesn't see any benefit to waging war or for Russia to be aggressive militarily. He just wants us to conduct business with each other and sort of maintain the military status quo that we have.
Right. So, yeah, when I talk to Republicans in these counties, most of them say that they don't feel that Russia is that big of a threat. If you talk to Democrats, you'll find, they think Russia is a tremendous problem.
Yeah.
So Russia's not that big of a threat. They're more worried about China.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I think militarily and politically, China is being much more aggressive these days than Russia, by far.
No, I'm not sure either one of them.
And I don't fear China. I just think China is trying to carve out their niche in Asia.
Right.
And
right.
I think if we leave them alone, they'll pretty much leave us alone.
Probably.
But at the same time, I don't see Russia doing the things to sort of expand their territory the way China is. China is actively trying to expand their territory, which I don't think is. I don't think that. I'm not sure what the word is. I feel like it's within their rights to do what they're doing. They're growing economically, they're growing in technology, and they certainly have the right to expand, just like we have over the years.
Right. Yeah, China, I think, has a vision for economic development, not just within China, but across the entire Eurasian megacontinent. They have this Belt and Road Initiative. High-speed rail also includes shipping routes around the coast, and they have a vision that you could summarize in a couple words. Everybody trades, everybody gets out of poverty, or if you're already out of poverty, everybody gets rich.
Yeah,
that seems to be the vision they are offering to the rest of the world, and it's fairly popular. People like the idea.
I tell you, I watch a lot of videos about the Chinese economy and how the Chinese economy works, and I didn't see that. Daggone it, did not see that. And so he just took my night. If you look at their construction techniques, they build highways in a fraction of the time that it takes the United States. Same with buildings and roads. They have a drastically different way of building than we do, and it's to me it's to be admired. So
how do they do that? What's the method?
Basically, like, they can put up a 30-story building in 30 days, and so they assemble it off site and build it in modules, so that each room is its own module. And instead of building everything on site at the same time, so they pre-construct everything off site, and then they throw it together, just like assembling Legos, in a fraction of the time it takes.
Well, we could do that.
We could emulate that, and so you find all the time that China drastically changes the way they make things, and it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. They're not content to just do things the way they've always been done.
Right. Interesting.
So how do I recover from that terrible oversight on my part? Oh dear.
In 2018, I ran as a Democrat for the U.S. House. I had 5 Democrat opponents in the primary. And I often said about Amy McGrath that she knows a whole lot about foreign policy, but all of it is wrong. She knows a lot, and it's all false.
I was so hoping in the KET debates that we could talk more about that. They spent 10 minutes talking about civility in politics and about 2 minutes talking about foreign policy. And to me, that was nonsense. So,
oh well.
Yeah, but my impression was that when I brought up the missile defense system, that she was just aghast that I would even imply that the United States was anything other than, why would I question U.S. policy on anything?
Yeah.
And so I don't know what her thoughts were other than that. But
and I think Andy Barr is precisely the same as McGrath. He knows a lot about the world outside the United States, and it's all wrong.
Yeah.
What he knows is propaganda. What he knows is the Israeli position on most any issue, and he thinks that that's the truth. But
I think it's checkmate.
Yeah.
Good game. Geoff has won the first of however many games we play, and so
sometimes you come back at the end.
Yeah.
All right, why don't we stop now and go to a different topic?
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a good segment.
That's it.